So welcome to the UK News Today. Today we have news that homeless man admits murdering mother and teenager sons who befriended him and tried to help him get off the streets. Barley, 24, killed Tracey Wilkinson, 50, and her son, Post, 13, in Stourbridge, West Midlands, but incredibly, husband and father Peter survived despite being knighted 6 times. A homeless man has admitted murdering a mom and her teenage son during a frenzied triple, stabbing and the family home 2 years after they gave him a job and a place to stay. Barley, 24, killed Tracey Wilkinson, 50, and first 13 in Stourbridge, West Midlands on March 30 after the family took him in when they saw him sheltering in a cardboard box outside Tesco. Tracey died during their trek on March 30 while her son was later pronounced dead in hospital. Husband and father Peter Wilkinson was also knighted 6 times and a £300,000 detached property, but incredibly survived the brutal attack. The killer fled in Peter's Land Rover Discover, which has been parked on the driveway, but later crashed into a wall when it was rammed by a police van during the dramatic chase. Wilkinson's family did all they could to help Barley, provide him with food, friendship, and even job in the year before he launched his deadly night attack. Explaining how his wife met her killer outside a supermarket in March last year, Mr. Wilkinson said her efforts to help him were typical of her kind nature, which also saw her volunteer to help the elderly. Mr. Wilkinson said she was shopping one day at Tesco in Stourbridge and she came out alone, was keeping warm in cardboard box, and she was taken aback by this and decided off the cut that she wanted to help him. She took him in her car to Dudley Council to get help, and from that point he lived in a hostel for a few days organized by my wife. Even though he was in a hostel, he had no money and food, so Tracey would organize breakfast and dinner for him every day, be it at our house or somewhere else. Explaining how his wife met the homeless 24-year-old outside a supermarket in March last year, Mr. Wilkinson said her efforts to help him were typical of her kind nature, which also saw him a volunteer to help Ellie. She was shopping one day at Tesco in Stourbridge, and she came out and was keeping warm in a car box. She was taken aback by this and decided off the cut that she wanted to help him, he said. She took him in her car to the lake, concealed to get him from that point. He lived in hostel for a few days, organized by my wife. Even though he was in hospital, he had no money, food, taking breakfast and dinner for him every day, house and somewhere else. Mackey has detailed memories about conversations with the lad, including one over an evening dinner at his family home. He said, "I just tried to get a feeling of what he felt and what he wanted in life. I can't remember quite vividly him saying to me, I just need somebody to give me a chance. I need somebody to give me a lucky break." After that, maybe 3 or 4 weeks later, I actually employed him. We decided that we would like to help him, so employed him at one of the business that I run down in Newport. However, Barley, who lived in Newport after taking up the job as a general laborer in April last year, went off the race in September and left on apparent amicable terms. Mr. G recalled he started taking drugs, and as a business he had to let him go. After Barley returned to Westmoreland, he had no contract with the magazine until early November. He was found asleep on the driveway. Mr. Carson added, I believe he had been on the street, had been badly beaten. My wife, being compassionate, saw that she was decided that as a family we should have him again. I got him up and made him see some tea. In a similar way what we had done last time, we managed to get accommodation for him. We paid for some accommodation ourselves for him. My wife would not see him back on the streets, so over the next couple of weeks we managed to get council accommodation sorted. He would do general jobs for us, for other members of families as well, in order to earn some pocket money for food and cigarette. He was generally very grateful. Barry's trial was expected last 3 weeks, but today, on the day he was due to start, he pleaded guilty. The couple's daughter, Laura Wilkie, was faced with the prospect of planning Trapop's funeral alone, as she feared her father would die from his injuries in the day after he was stabbed. The 19-year-old had been due to return to Stourbridge to see her family a day after the senseless murder of her mother and brother, but instead of found herself rushing to Bingham's Queen Elizabeth Hospital. The biology student, who recently began her second year of studies at Bristol University, was told to expect worse after arriving her father's bedside and seeing him under sedation. They took me to critical care, and that was the first time I saw my dad. Countless machines hooked up to him, a lot of doctors around his bed, she said in a media interview organized through Westmoreland Police. I remember thinking at that point in time that I was going to lose him as well, because nobody could survive that state. I was told that my dad was still in theater when I found out about the stabbing, because I found out from my boyfriend ringing me to check if my family were okay. Recounting how she found out initial detail on what had happened at around 10:30 a.m. on March 30, Mr. Wilkinson said, I remember typing to Google Stourbridge stabbing. The first link showed a photo of my house with police tape around it. I remember ringing my boyfriend back and saying, it's me. It is where been stabbed. I proceeded to go into the friend's room, where we called the police and asked if this was real or not, if it was me. They sent over official to my house and residence. In Preston, my phone was taken off to me so that I could not find out online. They say, we are very, very sorry to tell you that your mom and brother has passed away, and your dad is in theater. We don't know whether he was alive or not. We had no news. Previous Peter spoke about the heartbreak of losing his wife and son after being discharged from Bingham's Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Peter said, we just miss them so much. We sit talking about it every day. We were really happy. Now our lives have got a huge hole in them. We don't know how we will move on. We built in happy family bubble. Bus was a school which he loved, and my wife was an absolute angel with so much family life, happy life. We are good people. We always help others. We are a charity family. My wife did a lot of work to help other people. People told how he was in intensive care for 6 days, suffering deep stab wounds. Barley, 23, of Norfolk stress, had previously admitted to attempted murder of Miss Wilkinson. Days after the killing, Peter's daughter Lara was at university in Bristol at the time of the tract, visited home, and she laid flowers to her mom and brother. At the time, she said, "They were loved by everyone. They are irreplaceable, just extraordinary people." Speaking ahead of John's funeral in June, Peters had said wanted it been uplifting event rather than dark ceremony. He said it was taken so young, so it is not a celebration. They would have wanted people to be thinking of them, not necessarily mourning them. Beg is not compulsory, just because we want the funeral to be effort, not darkening ceremonies. He said his daughter Laura had been an invaluable support. In weeks following the tragedy, speaking earlier in this year, Peter said, "She has been a massive support. She is very strong. She was told to expect the worst, so finding out I was going to leave was an uplifting point for her." Thanks you very much for listening to the UK News today. I hope you enjoyed this news. Please subscribe our channel to get my news. Thank you.